other, serve your family, serve at work, and serve your community better. One of my favorites is how we can find unity in our diversity. Diversity is not a new concept. God talked about it in Romans 12. This is a beautiful thing. Diversity is a beautiful thing. And when we can see each other as members of a body and see the value in this person over here who has this different way of looking at it, in a culture of mutual respect, these concepts we're going to talk about can totally transform our church and what we can get done. To give grace and acceptance to those who are different from us. So there's a lot of differences in this room. In fact, some of you on the way to church on this beautiful Sunday morning may have shared your differences with each other in the car on the way here. And that's okay, because our differences can be beautiful if we can value the other person's differences as well as our own. And finally, to more effectively communicate the love of Christ through our interactions with each other. Everyone, regardless of their genius, just wants to be seen, understood, and wanted. It's a quote from Pat Lencioni. If you want to take the assessment, you can scan this tool with your phones. If you're not sure how to scan a QR code with your phone, ask a young person around you. Anybody that's if you are under 30, raise your hand right now. If you're under 30, raise your hand. Oh, it's so bad. These are the people you want to ask. If you're unsure of how to scan a QR code, they'll show you. All right. Do I want to flip this now? No. Let's read Romans 12. So if you have your Bibles, go ahead and open to Romans 12, and I want to start there. How are we doing on time? We're doing good. Romans 12. I'm going to read through this relatively quickly because I want you to hear the whole chapter, because I feel like the concepts that we're talking about are in here, but then I really want to get to this. Now, about the gifts of the Spirit, brothers and sisters, I do not want you to be uninformed. You know that when you were pagans, somehow or other you were influenced and led astray to mute idols. Therefore, I want you to know that no one who is speaking by the Spirit of God says, Jesus be cursed, and no one can say Jesus is Lord except by the Holy Spirit. There are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit distributes them. There are different kinds of service, but the same Lord. There are different kinds of working, but in all of them and in everyone, it is the same God at work. Now to each one the manifestation of the Spirit is given for the common good. To one there is given through the Spirit a message of wisdom, to another a message of knowledge by means of the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another gifts of healing by that one Spirit, to another miraculous powers, to another prophecy, to another distinguishing between spirits, to another speaking in different kinds of tongues, and to still another the interpretation of tongues. And these are all the work of one and the same Spirit, and he distributes them to each one just as he determines. Just as a body, though one, has many parts, but all its many parts form one body, so it is with Christ. For we were all baptized by one Spirit, so as to form one body, whether Jews or Gentiles, slave or free, and we were all given the one Spirit to drink. Even so, the body is not made up of one part, but of many. Now if the foot should say, because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason stop being part of the body. And if the ear should say, because I am not an eye, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason stop being part of the body. So here's the value in you being different and the value in others' differences as well. If the whole body were an eye, where would the sense of hearing be? If the whole body were an ear, where would the sense of smell be? But in fact, God has placed the parts in the body, every one of them, just as he wanted them to be. If they were all one part, where would the body be? As it is, there are many parts, but one body. The eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you, and the head cannot say to the feet, I don't need you. On the contrary, those parts of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable, and the parts that we think are less honorable we treat with special honor. And the parts that are unpresentable are treated with special modesty, while our presentable parts need no special treatment. But God has put the body together, giving greater honor to the parts that lacked it, so that there should be no division in the body, but that its parts should have equal concern for each other. If one part suffers, every part suffers with it. If one part is honored, every part rejoices with it. Now you are the body of Christ, and each one of you is a part of it. And God has placed in the church, first of all, apostles, second prophets, third teachers, then miracles, then gifts of healing, of helping, of guidance, and of different kinds of tongues. Are all apostles? Are all prophets? Are all teachers? Do all work miracles? Do all have gifts of healing? Do all speak in tongues? Do all interpret? Now eagerly desire the greater gifts. And yet I will show you the most excellent way. And I'm going to stop there. I don't want to drive Rigel crazy, because then he's about to give you the best part. If I speak in the tongues of men or of angels but do not have love, it goes into love next. But I'm going to stop there because I'll read all day. So do you see what I'm getting at here? That this diversity is beautiful. And if we have a culture of mutual respect for one another and can value each other's differences, what we can do in this church family, in this congregation, is unprecedented. So, Dave, would you mind helping me with this board? Let's flip it around. Pretty please. I think I tightened it back up because I wanted to get you up and have you participate with me because you're my best friend. Even though you took my shin pads in high school. Ask him about that story. Okay. So, this might be hard for you to see. You can tell the moment that I found the new dry erase marker. Can't you? The genius of wonder. What I'd like you to be doing as I move through these. Good, I've got time. As I go through these, try to find yourself in them. Generally speaking, actually not generally speaking, specifically speaking, each person has two of these that are your genius. And what I mean by that is they give you great joy to do them. You're excited to do them. You are naturally gifted at doing them. You may have frustrated people in your life by doing them when they wanted you to do their genius. And you thought, I wish I could be more like that. But you're not. You are who you are. And you are who you are for a reason. And I think you might discover something new about yourself today. We each have two of them that we're competent in. And then we have two of them that we are frustrated by. Now, all six of these that I'm going to highlight for you today, all six of them need to get done for work to be done well. If you take any of these out, the work can still get done. It just might not be as good. So I guess I could write these up here. Wonder. Invention. Discernment. Oh, I left out an N. Not discernment. Discernment. Galvanizing. Check my spelling, folks. Enablement. Not the bad kind, the good kind. And tenacity.
Lucas, does he talk about people being different at work and home? Like,
The question is, can you have different geniuses between work and home? No. This applies to work. It applies to home. It applies to church. It applies to your family. It applies to anywhere where you are trying to get work done. And it describes you as a person. So you are going to take these traits. They may manifest a little differently at work than they do at home, but as a general rule, these are going to fit you as a person. So the gift of wonder. These people have the ability to sit and ponder and consider and ask questions. They're very contemplative. You'll see them do this a lot. Oh, I messed up my microphone. They sit and they think, and they may be slow to action. This thing. Hold on one second. Yeah? You hear me now? Okay. They may be slow to action. People have said that to them throughout their lives. Why are you just sitting there thinking? Why are you asking these questions? They may have found themselves in a meeting where the boss just wants to get stuff done, and they throw everything off the rails because they go, are we sure we're doing the right thing? Deep thinkers, contemplative. They are perfectly willing to sit in ambiguity and not solve your immediate crisis right now because there are more questions that need to be asked. And this genius is often overlooked as a genius because it's slower, it's quieter. It asks more of those tough questions. The genius of invention. These people are creative. They have solutions. If you've got a problem, I'll solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it. No? Too far? Yeah, it's too far. I know. The Spirit does what the Spirit does, man. I know. They are, I heard, they are generally speaking artistic. They have new ideas. They love innovating. They're oftentimes recognized as a genius because you say, man, that's genius. That idea is fantastic. They're just idea after idea after idea after idea. They love a blank slate. The gift of discernment. These people have really good instincts and gut intuition. These are the people that, if you can think of somebody in your life, when you have a problem and you want to get good advice, this is the guy that you go to. This is the person that has that counsel, right? I immediately think of Mark Hoover when I think of this genius. This is the guy that you want to go sit to and say, I have this problem. And they have good advice, good wisdom, good counsel.
What's the no about it?
These people are very comfortable saying no. That's a terrible idea. And that is a gift. You have probably not thought of it as a gift many times in your life. But that is a gift. The ability of these people to go, I can see far ahead, farther than you can, as a wanderer or as an inventor. I can see that that's not going to work long term. And here's why. They can see patterns. They have that gift of vision, that far off vision. We've learned to trust their judgment. Maybe you have that person that you go, that he's got good judgment or she's got good judgment. Now, this can be hard to hear them say no. And you may have struggled with that. What this does is it gives us a language for things that we've already experienced in our life for 20, 30, 40, 50, however many years you've been on this planet. I also think of, how as you learn this, you think of people. I think of Larry Hennessy right here. Larry, I don't know if you see yourself in the I as an inventor, but I think of you as being at Creative Solutions. Where'd you go?
I'm right here, but
Yeah.
that's not what I was thinking. I
Okay.
was wondering why is it widget and not dig wit?
Because of the gears. I think, see how they had the gears and that's like a widget and they were trying to make it memorable so they can sell it because it's cost, I should tell you, to take the assessment costs $25, I think. I think that 90% of people don't need to take the assessment for $25. I think as you go through this stuff and as we talk about it, you're going to go, those two are my genius. Those two are definitely my frustration. And I'm okay at those. Now,
To answer you seriously, I mean, invention is the joy of my life.
there it is. The joy of your life. It just gives you life. It's if you could just do that all day long, you would. Discernment. The galvanizer. The galvanizer is the one that pushes people to get going, get it done. I see some heads nodding. I've got a galvanizer in the family. The galvanizer says, what have you been doing all day? Have you ever said that to the loved ones in your life? What have you been doing? I'm out there all day long. You come home, he's sitting on the couch, got his feet up, just wondering, just thinking. What are you doing? I'm just thinking. Well, think me up a donut with some chocolate sprinkles. The galvanizer pushes, inspires, gets us back on track, rallies the troops around an idea if they believe in it. If the galvanizer believes in the idea, they will get us going in that direction. They love to take action and organize the team and let's go. Let's go. They're saying let's go a lot. Enablement. These folks, when you have a job to do, hey, we need some work done. First hands to go up. Whether they even know what the job is or not. Whether they have time for it or they're going to overcommit, hand goes up. I'll do it. I'll do it. They love to help. They love to raise their hands. They are willing to work. These folks are the human capital that really gets the work done. Gets it like the actual work. They're also very good at encouraging and assisting. But they often overcommit. And so sometimes it's not seen as a genius. But some people see this and they go, I wish I had this. I wish I was better at this. Tenacity, this one for me. I look at people that have the gift of tenacity and I go, man, I wish I had more of this tenacity. People with the gift of tenacity are the ones who can go into their office and grind out that work for hours and just get it done until it's finished. They love checklists. They love crossing things off. They love finishing to completion. It drives them crazy when that person just gets 90% of the way there and doesn't finish that. All you had to do was spend 20 more minutes. Oh, I gave up. They can't stand the concept of people being overwhelmed. That concept that you're overwhelmed. Why are you overwhelmed? This is not war. Get to work. They love to complete. They're very task-oriented. Push to completion. As we work, generally, we work in this direction. The idea starts here. The wanderer says, I wonder if we should fill in the blank. The inventor goes, got it, I have an idea. Or 2, or 3, or 4. The discerner goes, 3 of those ideas are terrible. But that one, now we've got something. Pat Lencioni talks about these two guys or girls working together, that it's a very iterative process, that the inventor says, what about this? And the discerner goes, nope. What about this? Nope. If you've ever seen this take place in a marriage, it can cause a lot of conflict, really in business too and in church. I think this idea is a good one. Actually, it's a terrible idea. Oh, now I'm sad. See how sad I just got? It doesn't have to be that way. We don't have to get our feelings hurt if we recognize and value these differences. All right, church family, so now I'm going to talk to you. We have not done a great job of this, which is why I'm so passionate about it, and which is why you got to hear about it for the next 6 or 7 or 8 weeks, however long we decide to go. I'm going to keep pounding it until we get it. And until you find yourself in here, but not only find yourself, find where you can help and where you can get to work. Yes, ma'am. Tina.
So the wanderer and the inventor, like if you're pondering or considering or thinking, what are they pondering and considering and thinking if they're not coming up with ideas?
I can tell you because this is me.
Okay.
I am a wanderer. Wanderer, enablement are my 2 geniuses. Anything. We are always thinking about something. Now, that's not true. Sometimes we're thinking about nothing. But we're ready to ponder. And if somebody wants us to ponder, we will. And oftentimes we will hijack a meeting where we're getting stuff done, where the idea has already been discerned, and now we're moving, we're just really chugging along, and all the people that are galvanizers and enablement are like, yes, we're going, we believe in it. And the wanderer goes, I'm not sure we're doing the right thing. And it throws everything off. So there is a time and a place for these. So that's a good question. Sometimes the genius does not belong in this meeting or at this time. And I'll give you a good example of it. Rigel did this to me. We were doing a master's plan meeting, and I got really excited. And then when I get excited, I start to kind of steamroll, and I get blinders, and I lose track of everything. I lose track of time. What time is it? And he goes, okay, I'm asking all these questions, and he goes, yeah, but I don't want to get lost in the questioning because we've kind of already done that, and it's already sort of been discerned, and like we're kind of here. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. That's 100% right. It didn't hurt my feelings, and it's because we did it in a mutually respective way. He didn't say, you're an idiot. Stop wondering. He just said, I don't think that's where we are in the process. Yeah, Rigel.
I appreciate that, and I think even where you left off in 1 Corinthians 12 about the love is the connective tissue with all of this. And I think our maturity as believers gets us to that point where, like you said, the inventor doesn't take it personally when the discerner says no.
Yeah.
Right? And the discerner has grown and matured in love to the point where he or she doesn't say no in an offensive, hurtful, and off-putting way.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so the love with all of them is the connective tissue. And just to Tina's question too, I'm a wanderer as well. Am I a wanderer? Yes.
100%.
So, like Lucas said, just the contemplation and for me, it's like the big picture vision. I love thinking about that. That's why I love even, the whole master's plan, even conceiving that.
Mm-hmm.
Working that up to me was the funnest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But as far as like details and small stuff and tenacity, but like big picture stuff and vision and where we could go and what this could be, possibilities is kind of like where we're always at.
Man, I love that. And I'm so glad you said that. And you never really, it's okay too in a project to come back and go backwards a little bit as long as you recognize it for what it is. So this is going to be the kind of thing that I want to infuse into everybody's hearts and into your minds. Just like Rigel said, that love, I love that. Love is that connective tissue that's going to bind all this together and make this work. We could learn this and do it, but if we're not kind to one another, if we're not patient with one another, if we're not gentle with one another, none of this matters. And that's where 1 Corinthians 13 ends up taking us. That, yeah, if we don't have love, none of this is going to matter. None of it's going to work. So this is all in a spirit of mutual respect, kindness, love. Kiana.
Not necessarily asking you to go over it now, but I thought it was interesting that from last Sunday's class, I was eating dinner with my children, and we did not agree on who we thought one another, were. So it was a very kind of eye-opening conversation. It's like we can see people one way, and they don't see themselves that way. So it's like, how do you
Mm-hmm.
work through that when someone thinks they are what they're not, or you don't see them? So I hope it talks about that. I'm not asking you to do it right
Actually, I'll do it right now because otherwise I'll forget. It's a great question, and generally it is up to the individual to determine where they are in this, because these words may not necessarily capture it for you. You may see it with different language. These are just some examples, but you as the individual are going to be energized by it. It's less of a description of you as a person as it gives you energy to do these things. This is work that gets done. It's not necessarily a personality assessment like the Enneagram or the DISC. It's not the love languages. It's not I don't know what the spiritual gift assessment is. This is for work. And so other people may see, you in a different light, but it's really about where you get joy in doing work so that you can be fulfilled in your work. That's the key, is yeah, you can do this. And you may have had a job in your life. Think of a job that you hated in life. You were probably doing a genius that you hate, that is your frustration. That's how Pat came up with this model. He was in a job, and it was by all rights a fantastic job, but he was miserable, and he couldn't figure out why. And his coworker said, "Why are you this way?" She's a wanderer. She asked the question, and he went, "That's a great question. Let's try to figure it out." So they went to the whiteboard and they started diagramming him, and that's how they came up with this model. So it's less about what other people think you are as much as what gives you energy. So the two geniuses that you have are going to be very fulfilling to you, very rewarding. They're going to give you a lot of joy to do them. They're not going to drain you. They're going to energize you. Like Rigel's talking about, just the conceptualizing of the master's plan. Just somebody coming to him and saying, "You know what we should do? What about a master's plan?" He's probably like, "Oh, I have 100 ideas or questions or how to sit and just think about it." Then he needs somebody with the gift of invention to help him come up with the ideas. Discernment, galvanizing, enablement, tenacity. Everybody with me so far? Hot net, heads nodding, thumbs up. Okay. The assessment, 90%, this is my opinion. I hate to take business from them because here I am teaching their stuff. I hate to take business from them. 90% of people do not need to pay to take the assessment, because as we talk about these things, you will figure out which two are your genius, which two are your competency, and which two are your frustration. There are times in your life and in work and in marriage and trips and family that you have to do the thing that is your frustration. Just recognize it as a frustration and that it's going to drain you a little bit, and then maybe you can come back to your genius. These three are WID, yes. I wrote it down. Hold on, because I knew I was going to forget. These are the ideation phase of work. I wish I could write bigger too. Ideation, and this is what you might call action phase of work. I have a boss. My boss is a discerner galvanizer. She has often been called mean by, not me for sure, but people that I work with. Because people that have these two, discernment and galvanizing, are what we call, if you have these two, you are disruptive. And I don't mean that as an insult.
And I thank you because I can see that.
Oh, good. Excellent. People that have the genius of discernment and galvanizing can be very disruptive, because they come in to a meeting or a family project or a committee, and they throw everything out the window. Like, why? That's a terrible idea. Hopefully they said it nicely, but a lot of times they don't. They just say it matter-of-factly. And these people here will think things like, "Why are you so sensitive?" They're often looked at as being angry or mean, or actually he's just not nice. Well, that may be true, but he or she also really have a lot of value in this discernment and galvanizing. These galvanizers are the ones that Cody tells a story about. He would go around at work. He's one of the guys in the Working Genius team. He would go around at work, and people were supposed to be doing, their tasks, whatever. They have their laptops open. He would walk around and close the laptop of the person. Close the laptop. What are you supposed to be working on right now? Now, can you imagine how well that went over? at the table group, that does not go over well. And that discernment sometimes does not go over well. Larry.
You know, disruptive sounds negative, yet I do quite well with disruption.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, forcing change and getting people out of their comfort zone is a very, very powerful thing. So I mean, just I see that and know that disruption just sounds negative. Right?
It does. It does.
And it's not.
And I'll tell you a story about that. So my friend Ann Cox, we were in some sort of, I wish she was here today. She's not here today, is she? We were sitting at Serenity, myself, Ann and John. We were at McAllister's. We were talking about this. I was talking. Everyone else was listening. And I said, "Oh, I think you are a discerner galvanizer, and you're a disruptor." And she goes, she got this face like I hurt her by saying that. And I could tell that I hurt her. And so 5 minutes later, I was like, "Did I hurt your feelings?" And she's like, "No, I just didn't like being called disruptive." And I was like, "No, here's what I mean." And it's a beautiful thing, actually. It's fantastic, because if all we did was think and come up with ideas and skipped this, imagine if we skipped this step and we just go from, let's do all the ideas. Let's do them all. And this is something that churches do. We do it. Not all the time, but sometimes we're like, if it's an idea, we don't want to hurt anybody's. We don't want to, that's not very Christian to disrupt. I don't want to hurt your feelings. Yeah, I get that. But I want us to learn the value of the discerner. Where's Joy? Is she here today? Joy has the gift of discernment. We were in our meeting last week for the master's plan, and I said, "Oh, that was such a great class. I was so excited." And she goes, "Can I give you some feedback?" And I was like, "Yes." Right here. The discerner says, "Can I give you some feedback?" That was beautiful. She said, "You don't necessarily need to pray for every prayer request step by step, by name. That takes forever. No wonder you ran out of time. Just say, 'Hey, Lord, you've heard our request.'" And I was like, that's really good feedback. Now, if I had not valued this communication tool, I would have been like, "Oh, all right, Joy, it kind of hurt my feelings, but you're right, but man, she was right." And because I have this language now, I can recognize and see the value in that discernment. Huge. Tina.
I'm sitting here thinking about what I do every day at work as a teacher, and teachers have to do all of this. Because
Yes.
we're the only one in the room who's in charge. And
Wow.
unless you delegate to students, which I do as best as I can because I teach high school students, I've often wondered why I'm so tired at the end of my day when I love being in the classroom with the kids. And as I'm looking through these and thinking about some teachers who I know who would do that laptop shutting thing, which is really not
Nobody likes it.
nobody likes it. Kids
No.
will shut down. Some teachers approach that way. So, like when I teach, like a student isn't on task, I'm constantly positively trying to push and inspire. I'm constantly trying to, have vision enough to say, "Hey, let's not do that. Let's do this," instead of slamming the laptop down. So, my gifts up there, I get to do them, but I'm also doing all of them in one day.
That sounds exhausting.
Explains why at night I'm so tired.
Yeah.
I never put that together. There's nobody for me to.
Just like love is the connective tissue that holds us together, teamwork is what makes this work. Teams. Remember when I said no one is successful alone? It's true. Nobody is going to be successful alone. Very rarely will someone be successful alone. But in a team model where we can take a committee, anytime we're going to build a committee, my suggestion to the leadership is teams, committees. Figure out the geniuses, who's good at what, and start building our teams that way. The elders, okay? If you have a group of elders and you have no galvanizing in your team, find a galvanizer. If you have nobody with tenacity, we're probably never going to get anything done. So find yourself in these. Figure out which two are your genius. We're almost done. I'm only gonna give you. Oh, we are done. We'll have to save your question for next week, but hang on to it because I'm 2 minutes late and I said I wasn't gonna do that. Okay, thank you everybody.